Security is the first concern when exposing model endpoints. Azure supports private endpoints, so enterprise can reach Foundry through private networking and completely disable public access, which is the foundation of many enterprise deployments. Security comes before model access. When an enterprise exposes an AI model endpoint, security comes first. The application enters Azure through approved VPN tunnel or dedicated private connection such as Express route, then reaches Azure AI Foundry through a private endpoint while public access is completely disabled. In terms of enterprise, this is the foundation of many enterprise deployments. Reduce internet exposure before discussing models, prompts, or application features. Policy before connectivity. Traffic crosses the firewall first. Routes, inspections, logging, and deny by default rules are enforced before the request enters Azure. Now, in terms of enterprise, centralized control, so suspicious traffic can be blocked and every connection can be investigated. Private link crosses the boundary. The request is routed over a private link into the Hub VNet private networking zone. The Foundry workspace does not need a public inbound path. Now, in terms of enterprise security, it removes a public attack surface while preserving predictable private routing from corporate networks. DNS makes the private route real. The application resolves the service name through a private DNS zone. The name resolves to a private endpoint IP, so the request is on the private route. Now, in terms of enterprise security, this prevents accidental public resolution and keeps application configuration consistent across environments. Foundry handles the request. Azure AI Foundry receives the call through its private endpoint. Azure AI Search and other managed dependencies remains reachable through the VNet design and their own approved controls. In terms of enterprise security, this keeps sensitive prompts, retrieved business data, and models operations within a segmented service architecture. Now choose the model boundary. Foundry can route the request to an Azure-hosted model or to a model operated by a third party. The private endpoint protects access to Foundry. It does not decide where inference runs. In terms of enterprise security, this makes the data boundary explicit before approving a model provider, region, retention, policy, or training use setting. Azure-hosted inference stays private. For an Azure-hosted deployment, inference remains within Azure Service Boundary. The green part shows the request having Foundry for the managed model and returning without public internet egress. Enterprise security rationale: prefer a controlled service boundary for regulated data, identity integration, residency, and centralized monitoring. Third-party inference using controlled egress. For an external provider, the request leaves Foundry through the spoke firewall, then crosses the controlled egress gateway. Firewall rules allow lists, DLP, secrets, and logging govern what may leave Azure. The provider remains outside VNet. Now, in terms of enterprise security, this treats every external model as a monitored data transfer with explicit approval and clear path to block or audit it. Let's see how we can create this private endpoint. Note, I'm just showing this theoretically at this stage because I don't have VPN or Express route, which is kind of a costly at this and doesn't fit my budget. So let me demo theoretically. Go in Foundry and then click Create Resource. Select your subscription. Create resource group. If you don't have, use existing one. If not, create new one. Private endpoint option will come. Click on Add Private Endpoint. Then you will see a pop-up option. Here you select your subscription, select your resource group, the country, give a name to your private endpoint, and then you can select the virtual network. At this stage, I don't have any virtual networks and all, so I will not be able to proceed further here. And then select the private DNS. So basically, this will create a private endpoint to your Azure Foundry.